Hey father, never mind all that sinning crap, I've got good news. I was right. I drove back to the old Fenimore Carter place. I knew that in the Fenimore Carter days the grounds had extended beyond the boundary of what is now Northman Plastics. If I was right that Quentin had stashed Elizabeth in the aborted tunnel, I figured there must be an entrance on the outside, since he wouldn't be able to get into Northman any more than I can. So I wandered around outside the fence, looking for anything that might lead underground. At first I didn't have any luck. I was looking for a trapdoor or a manhole cover or something. But then I realised this was going to be a channel tunnel. I should be looking for a much bigger entrance. They might have closed it up, but really, why bother? A couple of minutes' walk from the site, I could see a long rock face with a few shadows that looked like possible openings. So I wandered over to investigate. I couldn't believe my luck when I found it. One of the shadows I'd seen was a wide crevice in the rock, and within the crevice a huge doorway had been carved out. This was it, the way into Quentin's underground lair. Unfortunately, within the huge doorway was a huge door, made of steel or something, and protected by a 6-digit combination lock. That's 1,000,000 possible combinations. I was fucked. Then I had an idea. I turned each of the dials completely at random. So far, God's been on my side. He protected me when I jumped off the cliff. He got me out of the fire alive. He saved me when Graham tried to kill me and when Quentin tried to kill me. Now all I needed was one more miracle. Not even a miracle, really. I could get the right combination by chance. I just needed God to tip the odds in my favour. I turned the final dial. I pulled down the big steel handle. I held my breath. And I pushed. It didn't open. God had let me down. Or had he? What if the door opened outwards? I held my breath again. And I pulled. Still didn't open. Obviously. 1,000,000 possible combinations, of course it didn't open. But it had been worth a try, because really, what was I going to do now? Well, the first thing I was going to do was have an argument with a security guard from Northman Plastics. He was running over and shouting at me. I thought for a moment I'd got it wrong, that this door led to a Northman facility, but the guard confirmed it was a Fenimore Carter relic. He just didn't like me poking about on their land. Even though I was outside the barrier, this was all owned by Northman Plastics now, as the guard explained to me repeatedly and at length. I felt like telling him that in that case there was a kidnapped woman trapped beneath his land, but it wouldn't have done any good. I apologised for trespassing and drove home, frantically trying to figure out how I could learn the combination. That was yesterday evening, right after I came here. When I got back, there was just time to have some dinner and freshen up for my appointment. I had one of my regular clients last night. You remember Hogleg, the terrifying tattooed gun freak who has the distinction of being my first ever client? We have a regular weekly slot now. He's like my best customer. We've had, maybe 10 sessions? He's had his cock up my arse, sorry father, bum, more than anyone else alive. It's funny, I had nightmares about him at first, but we get on really well now. I hardly find him terrifying at all. Sometimes I'll hang around afterwards and chat. He tells me all about his guns and things he's shot, and about his mates and their guns and things they've shot. He's kind of a one-topic guy. He's recommended me to a couple of them, actually. I seem to have developed a reputation as the rent boy of choice for homosexual gun nuts. So we were chatting away last night over a mug of hot cocoa. No one's quite as scary after you've seen them drink a mug of cocoa. And I started to tell him everything that's been going on in my life. Normally it's him who does most of the talking, but I'd had an idea that I thought he might be able to help with, so I told him all this stuff about Quentin and Elizabeth, and of course he was horrified. I was all I was wondering if you'd do me a favour. He was all, just tell me what you need. I visited Quentin again today. He couldn't believe it when he opened the door and I was standing there. He was all, don't you know when to quit? So you got lucky yesterday. Why don't you come inside and I'll finish the job? I don't think he was expecting me to take him up on that, but I followed him in, though I didn't quite close the door behind me. He was all, I googled you, David Grange. The world seems to think you're dead, which means no one will miss you. I said, tell me the combination. He was all, I'm sorry? I was all, you know what I'm talking about. The combination, 6 digits. That's all I want. Tell me that and I'll let you go. He laughed. A lot. He thought that was hilarious. He was all, you'll let me go. Oh, I like that. I didn't think you'd be stupid enough to come back here, but I'm a man who plans for all contingencies. So I'm prepared. And from his pocket he drew a handgun and pointed it at my chest. It was a Walther P88, I think. Probably the P88 compact. It looked like it had the slide-mounted safety that distinguishes the compact from the standard P88 with its frame-mounted decocker. What? Spend time with Hogleg, you get to know your guns. So Quentin points this gun at me and he's all, oh yes, please let me go, I'm so frightened. When I said that if he told me the combination I'd let him go, I'd been hoping he was going to say, you and whose army, because I knew what was coming. But drawing that pathetic gun was even better. He looked so pleased with himself, and then, behind me in the doorway, Hogleg stepped into view, this huge, bold wall of muscle, cocking a Calico M960 submachine gun. I couldn't see him, but Quentin's face told me everything. Then beside Hogleg appeared his mate Deathstar, with an M18 bazooka. And then came Hatstand Dave and Fishgood and Buckshot, and Harry Allen, with an AK-47, a Beretta 501 sniper rifle, an M4 carbine with M203 under-barrel grenade launcher, and a Flammenwerfer 35 flamethrower, respectively. It was a pleasure to watch the colour drain from Quentin's face. I just stood there with my arms crossed, flanked by these 6 massive men with their massive guns. And Quentin's mouth gaped open and his body shook, and his pathetic little gun fell to the floor with a pathetic tinkle. And I was all, I bet you never planned for this contingency. I stepped towards him, and he dropped to his knees. And I said, tell me the fucking combination. And through his tears he whimpered, 416694. And that's all I need. I'm killing time now. After my run-in with the guard, I figured I'd better wait till he's gone home. Then, I'm going back. And I'm going to save Elizabeth.